The photography exhibition held under the theme Spectrums, Alternative Views on Development, organized by the Center for Poverty Analysis, commenced in Colombo yesterday.
The photography exhibition is hosted in conjunction with a colloquium to celebrate the 10th anniversary of CEPA. The featured photographs are based on a variety of themes such as environment, post-crisis recovery, inequality, aging, leisure, recreation, and inequality linkages, and an open category.
The reason why we are having this event is really to create some awareness around social issues in Sri Lanka, and to do it for an audience that doesn't necessarily engage with these issues. And photography is one of SEPA's passions, so we thought it would be really a cool idea and a great way of getting people to think about these issues.
The exhibition aims to be an alternative means of highlighting social issues in Sri Lanka and the region. Tomorrow will be the final day of the event.
UPFA parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa toured the Poonthottam Rehabilitation Centre in Vaunia today.
Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa, who arrived at the Poonthottam Rehabilitation Centre, was welcomed by inmates at the centre according to Tamil rituals. Later, the parliamentarian declared an art exhibition of former LTT cadres who are receiving rehabilitation at the centre. Namal Rajapaksa, who looked into vocational training programs carried out at the centre, later engaged in a cordial discussion with the inmates. Souvenirs were presented to all those who exhibited their talents.
And Arundhati Fernando joins us now for the very latest in international news.
Hello and welcome to the News First International Desk. Making headlines in the global arena, allies of former IMF chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn have said that he could make a political comeback in France now that he has been freed from house arrest in the US. Before being accused of sexually assaulting a hotel maid in New York on the 14th of May, Kahn was tipped as a possible French presidential candidate.
Doubts have since emerged about the credibility of the maid, and the case is reportedly close to collapse. Yesterday, a judge ordered Strauss-Kahn released on his own recognizance. He is now free to travel in the US, although he cannot leave the country and must appear in court again later this month. Strauss-Kahn, who resigned as head of the International Monetary Fund to defend himself, vigorously denies the charges. Strauss-Kahn had earlier been the favourite to be the Socialist Party's candidate for the French presidency in May 2012. Regardless of events in court, the expectation is growing in France that the case will ultimately collapse. And if that happens, the only person who can rule him out of next year's contest is Strauss-Kahn himself.
Over in the Middle East, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi has threatened to attack Europe in revenge for NATO's operations in Libya. Gaddafi said that Libya would target European homes, offices and families unless NATO stopped its campaign.
Gaddafi spoke via an audio message broadcast to tens of thousands of supporters gathered in a central Tripoli square. His message comes after France confirmed it had supplied weapons to anti-government rebels, delivering arms to Berber tribal fighters near Tripoli. His message comes just days after the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Colonel Gaddafi, his son Saif al-Islam, and Libyan intelligence chief Abdullah al-Sanusi for crimes against humanity. International prosecutors alleged government troops fired on civilian protesters during anti-Gaddafi street demonstrations earlier this year. Friday's rally was one of the largest in recent times.
Meanwhile, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has sacked the governor of the city of Hama, which saw mass anti-government protests on Friday.
Friday saw some of the biggest demonstrations yet against the rule of Bashar al-Assad. Hundreds of thousands took to the streets nationwide, with human rights groups saying that at least 24 people had been killed by security forces. Activists say more than 1,350 civilians and 350 security personnel have been killed since protests began in mid-March. Tens of thousands of people were said to have taken part in the protests in Hama on Friday.
And now for the very latest from the sporting arena, we start off with some cricket news. Sri Lanka beat England by 69 runs in the second one-day international of the 5-match series at Leeds yesterday. For an in-depth analysis of the game, we now join former Sri Lankan Test cricket captain Arjun Ranatunga.
When Sri Lanka were put into bat by England, it was a very surprising decision, especially on a very good batting track. It looked really brown, more like a subcontinent wicket, and I'm sure that Mahela and Kumar Sangakkara made the maximum on that particular wicket. Anderson, he bowled very well in the first one day, and once again he troubled most of the batsmen, and Graham Swan once again came into the party and he bowled well as well. I thought England fielding was not up to their mark. I think when they dropped Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene, when they were not even onto double figures, that was the costly miss. I think those costly miss made the game away from England. When England started chasing, most of the batsmen from number 1 to number 6 came and got into double figures, played really well, got really set, but couldn't make that double figure into a three-figure score or even close to 100. Lakmal, I thought he bowled very well in this particular game. He looked an improved player every time you see him playing and playing again. Ramdev should be commended as well, because the way he bowled, the way he got Morgan out. Overall, it was a very good show by the Sri Lankans. I think they fielded well, they bowled well, and on the other hand, if England batted well and continued their good work, what they have done in the past, it should have been a different story. And the wicket we played in the second game, it was more like a subcontinent wicket. It was brown, it was very good for the batting, and I'm sure the Sri Lankans capitalized on that.
Well, Royal College Colombo clinched the Michael Gunaratne Trophy, beating St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia 22 points to 7 in the Inter-Schools A Division League Rugby Tournament match played this evening.
The Inter-Schools League Rugby Tournament match between Royal College Colombo and St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia was played at the St. Thomas's College grounds in Mount Lavinia. St. Thomas's College scored early in the match and led 7 points to 0. The score remained the same at half-time, 2 in favour of St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia. However, after the turnaround, the Royalists came out with all guns blazing and scored a penalty early in the second half, reducing the lead. The lads from Raid Avenue went on to display some good offensive rugby and scored 1 try and 2 goals in the second half. Thereby, Royal College Colombo continued their unbeaten record in this year's Inter-School League Rugby Tournament and regained the Michael Gunaratne Trophy, beating St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia 22 points to 7.
And finally, wrapping things up with some tennis news, Petra Kvitova won her first Wimbledon title, beating 2004 champion Maria Sharapova 6-3, 6-4 in the women's final. In a game dominated by breaks of serve, the 8th-seeded Czech broke in the first game to set the tone and took the first set in 40 minutes. Sharapova held next time, but Kvitova held her nerve to serve out and win her first Grand Slam title with an ace. And on that note, we wrap up tonight's news. It was great having you on board. Enjoy your Sunday and stay connected on www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Sonali Wanigabadage, wishing you a good night.